O sea, si dejamos de comer lo que comíamos, vamos a perder la identidad con nuestro entorno. O sea, es el reservorio de sabiduría de los pueblos que todavía recordamos a qué saben las cosas y cómo se preparan las cosas y sobre todo cómo nos alimentaron durante tantísimos años.
If you want to have a healthy life and you want to have a stable planet, what can you do best from the perspective of what we eat? My name is Johan Rockström. I'm a professor in Earth System Science at the University of Potsdam and the director of the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research in Germany. The world needs a global scientific assessment of what does science say with regards to healthy diets, what gives the best outcomes for healthy lives in terms of what we eat, but also how can we eat within the safe planetary boundaries. And there you have at heart the core of the EAT-Lancet Commission work.
The Planetary Health Diet is really a reference diet, a guidance. It recommends food groups rather than specific food items so that it can really adapt to the food culture of different countries and regions in the world. It is really based on non-processed or minimally processed food. You can adapt that general guidance on different food groups to the local situation.
In its simplest form, the Planetary Health Diet tells you make the vegetables the star of the dish. Consume animal source foods in moderation, consume other plant proteins, and increase your consumption of fruits and nuts at the same time.
It's highly variable. We can substitute different foods. It's compatible with Western diets, with Asian diets, with African diets. So there's a lot of space in there for people to eat what feels good to them.
I might love beans, you might love chickpeas. It's great, both are legumes. There's something for everybody in the Planetary Health Diet.
One should really recognize that the Planetary Health Diet gives us the boundary conditions of what science says universally for all people in the world gives the best outcomes for our life expectancy.
This is a diet that is really good for our bodies, is going to help us live longer, feel better, have happier, healthy families. And it'll also have some profound side effects. Most important for me as a climate scientist is the impact it can have on climate. So by adopting this diet all around the world, what we'll do is have far less pressure on our land. We can produce what we need in a much smaller land area, leaving much greater space for nature, for biodiversity to thrive, for water systems to be clean, and for our climate to be stabilized.
La chinampa representa un universo. Limpian el aire, se ofrece agua, capturan carbono y es un jardín lleno de todo lo que se produce, ¿no? Entonces, yo creo que son de enorme y de vital importancia para la Ciudad de México. Yo soy Nora Lorena Estrada González y soy cocinera tradicional. Estamos en mi casa, estamos en Xochimilco, estamos en la Ciudad de México. La dieta ha ido cambiando muchísimo. Sin embargo, mantenemos todavía y te comes el tiempo, te comes el verano, te comes el otoño, te comes todo lo que hay. Creo que con eso lo resolvemos muy bien y no dejamos una huella ecológica gigantesca, ¿no? Cuando cocino con todos los ingredientes de la chinampa, siento que estoy resistiendo, que de alguna forma no estoy provocando la desaparición de la chinampa. Bueno, hoy estoy preparando algo que a mí me gusta muchísimo, que se llama tlapique de pescado, porque de entrada se cocina en hojas de maíz. Esa va a ser, pues, nuestra vasija. Se le ponen, por ejemplo, cebolla, se le pone pasote, que es lo que lo va a aromatizar, unos pocos nopalitos y tiene el pescado. Entonces eso se va a envolver y se va a cocer directamente en el comal. Entonces estamos haciendo una sopa, un caldito de huitlacoche que tiene jitomate. También vamos a preparar, vamos a hacer una ensalada de quelites que vamos a coronar con una tortita de amaranto. La salsa es una técnica también que ocupa el tatemado, que se va al comal, que los jitomates se van a caramelizar junto con los chiles, entonces le va a dar un sabor totalmente, dulzón, digamos, por una parte, aunque va a sacar lo picante del chile. O sea, el mexicano, la mexicana, comemos chile. Eso no tiene eso no tiene vuelta atrás. No tienes aditivos, o sea, es totalmente sano y sobre todo sabroso.
Switching from the current diets in the world, the number of deaths that we could prevent, over 10 million people every year, and it goes up to about 15 in some of the estimates.
When I think of the shift to predominantly plant-based diets, in an African context, their diets are very much plant-based. What dominates is starchy staples. So we do need, for many of the population on the African continent, to shift towards more nutrient-dense diets and shift towards a planetary healthy diet eating pattern, if you will.
The Maasai traditional diet, first of all, our animals give us the food we need. So milk is the main one. And from milk, we get traditional yogurt, we get ghee in form of a fat. That was my main meal growing up. My name is Selina Nkoile, the founder of Nashipai Maasai Community Projects and the co-founder of Bomanoma Ecolodge and Organic Farm. There is, of course, meat, which we don't eat every day. We actually eat meat only on special occasions, when there is a party or when there is extreme drought and there is no food. So every once in a while you would maybe slaughter a goat and eat. The dish that we will be making shortly is ugali, which is kind of a staple food now for our community and most of the Kenyan communities. It's mostly a source of carbohydrate. And then organic eggs, kienyeji. It's a very powerful source of protein. We will get some kale from our garden. This kale has survived like 2-year drought, so it's really, really resilient. For those that are used to eating kale, they will find this kale taste different because it has never seen any pesticide. It has been treated with a lot of love and care, and that will be our vegetable. And then we'll have an avocado on the side. Yeah. In the Maasai, you don't eat alone. We always need to eat with others and share.
Kenya is a shining example of not only moving towards a planetary health diet, simply because there's many initiatives trying to improve the consumption of fruits and vegetables, trying to increase access to these essential elements of the planetary health diet. If you think about it, the smallholder system is very circular in many ways. You have an animal, the animal will produce manure, the manure goes to the crops get fed. This is a very efficient way of using resources. It's very, very aligned with planetary health in the sense that we are really trying to improve production systems by creating greater recycling of nutrients, by using local resources.
In 2016, I went back to class, learned how to grow food, and now I can be sure of the food that I'm feeding my children. So the knowledge of sustainable agriculture and farming especially that we try to share with our community here, it's really helping, and they have given me good feedback, which really also gives me the assurance that we are doing a good job.
Depending on where you are, the fragility of the food system related to specific planetary boundaries are very severe. The region in the world most affected here is in sub-Saharan Africa. And these regions are inherently water scarce. When you depend on rain, and the rain varies increasingly because of human-caused climate change, then this becomes even more challenging. The buffering of this is to invest in practices to help these farmers to store water during storm rainfall events that can be used as supplementary irrigation during periods of dry spells.
Without water, really, nothing can grow, especially during the dry seasons. But if they get water, then the dependency, the hunger, the poverty will go down because they'll be able to provide food for themselves and actually sell the excess to the market, get the cash they need to buy what they don't have, get the cash they need to put their kids into schooling. And these Maasai women can also have some power to own something because they're the ones who really are the most vulnerable at this moment.
We're heading towards a point where we go beyond adaptation, where farmers will have to leave their homelands because you simply cannot operate agriculture anymore in the most fragile areas, and that places a larger responsibility on the global community.
Nos han bombardeado de un montón de comida que ni siquiera es nuestra. Te presentan otras ofertas que vienen en bolsas de colores y tienen muchas grasas y son muy olorosas y todo. O sea, ya las nuevas generaciones no saben a qué sabe un pollo criado en el traspatio o un tamal hecho con las manos de la mamá o una salsa molida en el molcajete. Y digo, bueno, es comprensible que en términos de tiempo, sí, pero el costo ha sido muy caro. Esta ciudad se le olvidó que tiene un corazón de chinampa.
Erratic food is one of these factors that can trigger social instability. That's why it's so important to invest in food as being a stabilizer for local communities. If we transform the food system and deliver on the Planetary Health Diet, we will have more stable planet, we will have healthier environments locally, but we'll also have better life outcomes. It's a win-win-win.
Pues yo creo que una dieta saludable es la dieta que puedes, bueno, a la que puedes acceder de una forma, ¿no?, cercana, lo que se puede sembrar alrededor de este lugar. Yo creo que hay que trabajar mucho, primero informando, pero también cocinando y también comiendo. Yo creo que es urgente mirar mirar primero que es un universo que no está desconectado, que no solo es cuidar la parte que se cultiva, es preservarnos a nosotros mismos. O sea, nos hemos acabado la historia, no nos hemos acabado toda esa parte, pues sí, de la vida.